Welcome back to season 21. It is our other half of the semifinals. We have the guy Nate versus Aelix SSB, aka Andrew. It is a really tense match between these two. Some really good players. We're looking really forward to a good set of games here. Joining me is Mickey.
Howdy, everybody.
And Mickey, how do you feel about these games?
Man, I am excited to see what both of these players have cooked up. Obviously, both very, very skilled players. Very good teams. Like some of the top teams, in my opinion, in the league. Aelix having that rock solid fire, water, grass core, and then DahGuyNate just having like Annihilate Arboliva. He has a Sun mode with Charizard. Luxray is like kind of crazy, sneakily crazy, I call it. Just a really good, well put together team, and it's gonna be fun to see how they match up. I know that Alex wasn't feeling the greatest going in. There's a certain lead that we do not want to see ever. We never want to see it. So I'm hoping that that doesn't happen. But also, Nate's pretty good at this game. Former champion, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah,
Waller,
and
yeah.
Alex is really trying to fight for this champion. It's really interesting the difference between these teams because Andrew has this really balanced grass, water, fire core, as you pointed out, whereas Nate has this really tricky with a bunch of different modes type of team. We've got Stun, we could go Trick Room, we can go through, we can outspeed, we can set up screens. There's so much that his team does, and Andrew's team just does damage and gets through it. But let's see what these players have in store.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking over the terras. I'm kind of excited to see what's going on here, what both players have cooked up. Let's tell them they can go.
Oh, they're still thinking. Oh no.
That's fine. I can yap a little bit. So something I'm impressed with every time I see it is Arboliva. Like this thing always makes it far in the playoffs. It is a two-time champion. It could be three-time. We don't know
Could be
yet.
three.
But
It
this
is.
thing just always shows up. It's so bulky, dishes out damage.
It's super bulky and such great abilities too. Um, Going through just being able to set that grassy terrain as well whenever it gets hit. It's super slow. It underspeeds everything that Andrew has. So if he manages to set up a trick room, we could see a little bit of issues there. Oh, here we go. We see a Rillaboom Hitmonlee lead. We see Cincino and Charizard on the other side.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Oh boy, the battle of the grassy seeds.
Really interesting. The Hitmonlee with the Grassy Seed always makes a good appearance. And now, the nice thing about Hitmonlee is with Unburden, it's faster than this Charizard, and it can go through and taunt it. It also has weather control, which can just absolutely nerf this Charizard.
Yeah, exactly. Like we are it's very curious because there could be a fake out here from either one, honestly. Hitmonlee or Rillaboom. I'm just
Mhm.
so curious. Grassy seed on the Cinchino. Is there a calc where this
Probably,
lives a close combat?
I don't know. We do see the Terra Fairy on it, so maybe just an
Man,
additional way to bulk up this casino.
exactly. And then Charizard's here. Charizard has stab on both of these Pokemon, so kind of a scary thing that you should probably take down as quick as possible, depending on what's in the back. I mean, we could have
Mhm.
like Milotic or Rotom in the back. Even Arcanine's like okay into this thing. However, the Terra Ground does scare me a little bit.
The nice thing about this lead is Nate knows that it is not Zoroark. Ooh, a Rock Tomb. Very interesting. That means
Yes,
that this Charizard may have to tear ground in order to live this rock slide or rock tomb, and the grassy glide puts a lot of pressure on it there.
yeah, I think Aelix was absolutely covering for either way. I need to get rid of this Charizard. If it Terras, I've got it with Grassy Glide. If it doesn't, I don't know the calc, but I assume this Rock Tomb is probably just going to take this Charizard down. Um, Double Protect from Nate, probably thinking, oh, Fake Out's coming from something. Need to make sure that my guys are safe.
Yeah,
Now
I wouldn't
knowing
be.
what Aelix is going for, I
Yeah, I wouldn't
wonder.
be surprised if we see a switch from this Charizard into that Annihilate, getting 2 hits on the Annihilate, powering up that Rage Fist, and letting Cincino kind of have free reign. May be really interesting.
I would be so
Um.
scared to go for Rock Tomb because doesn't Rock Tomb lower speed, triggering the
Oh,
Defiant? Yeah, that'd be really
yeah.
scary.
Keeping that in mind for game two as well. So I'd be scared to do that twice in a row.
There's
Oh,
the
he
Terra
stays
Ground.
in.
Whoa! That close combat does absolutely kill. Tailwind is up. The
Ooh,
taunt
and
is
the
there. But
taunt. You got speed control already down.
so that part where I said, "Oh, maybe Cinchino lives a close combat." Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That thing just got deleted. Unfortunately, I
Yeah,
love Cinchino, but here he is.
stab
Annihilate is in.
stab close combat just burr amount of damage. Yeah, this that tailwind is really going to make it very difficult for Andrew at this point. Now, um, everything on his side's faster. The Charizard now can outspeed this Hitmonlee even with Unburden.
I was gonna say Hitmonlee with Unburden is the fastest thing on Aelix's team. Zoroark can get up there, however, with Tailwind just doubling speed. I mean, yeah, everything is probably going to be faster. So I'm wondering if we see an Air Slash or some flying type move from the Charizard. However, I wonder how much this Grassy Glide does to this Charizard. Now being taunted cannot protect.
Yeah. Now, the thing about having the taunt is we know it's not Assault Vest. So if it doesn't KO with this Grassy Glide, this Fire move or Air Slash is going to do a lot of damage into it.
I mean, how much does a Heat Wave do here? Like this the green bastard has lowered special defense. And Grassy Glide kills. Wow.
Huge
Oh,
turn there
big turn.
for Andrew. Going through
Flying
Grassy Glide one shotting. That makes me. What item is this?
I wonder if it's no. I was gonna say maybe it's a covert cloak. However, if you were covert cloak, you wouldn't worry about protecting turn one in case of fake out. So I am also very curious. Love to
Uh,
see flying gem acrobatics on the Annihilate and that knockoff just not doing damage anymore because it used its
yeah.
flying gem. That's just really cool. But here comes Luxray. Um, not intimidate. So you gotta
No.
imagine this is probably a guts. Oh man.
Yep.
Ooh. All
The
right. Yeah.
facade there going through.
Yep. So one turn of Tailwind left. This acrobatics is now incredibly scary. you just protected with your Hitmonlee, and we now know all 4 moves on the Hitmonlee: Rock Tomb, Close Combat, Knock Off, Protect. So
Yeah,
that's some good info.
no changing weather, no taunts on the Hitmonlee.
And I figured, yeah, probably not Intimidate on this Arcanine. You don't wanna give the Annihilate a boost.
Yeah, and
However,
Flash Fire is just really strong into a Charizard with Heat Wave.
yeah, absolutely.
So
You need something for the Charizard, and Flash Fire obviously giving it the immunity and giving it a boost on its own fire type moves. I'm just curious because Nate is down to his final 2 Pokemon in this, Luxray, just a little over half health, but we still have 1 turn of Tailwind up, and this, Hitmonlee is very vulnerable.
oh, with Hitmonlee being
Wow.
faster there. So we're left with Annihilate with a acrobatic stream punch. I imagine this is also Rage Fist as well.
I would assume so as well. Probably Detect as well, or maybe we're just rocking 4 move Annihilate, or
Yeah,
maybe
this is a really tough position. I don't think Annihilate can get out of a 1v3.
yeah, I'm not sure about it because I mean we could just go for what a knockoff and a flare blitz here, and that probably does like a pretty good chunk to this Annihilate.
Actually, talking about that, this Hitmonlee really can't hit this Annihilate. Oh, it's not enough to KO it. Oh,
Wow. I mean after flare blitz I guess it's enough, but
yeah,
Hitmonlee's
he
still there.
Hitmonlee's still there. Yeah, no, I'm surprised that after this, was it 2 or 3 hits that the Hitmonlee, the Annihilate took? No, it was just 2 hits, so it was just base 100 damage. Wow.
That
It
is
was
a crazy game, and we didn't even see or I don't believe we saw the 4th Pokemon from Aelix, so hidden information for game 2.
Yeah, this means that, I feel like Nate's going to change it up.
I think we
Um,
are going to see a huge change up here. Some
the,
things to consider.
yeah, the Rock Tomb alone challenges that Charizard lead heavily.
Absolutely.
In
I
fact, that
would if I'm bringing Charizard, I'm bringing it in the back and hoping that I can get rid of the Hitmonlee as soon as possible. But how do we do that? We have Annihilate here with the Flying Gem Acrobatics. The Terra on the Hitmonlee is dark, so probably could live that Acrobatics with the Grassy Seed. I'm just curious on what how Nate pivots his lead because that went pretty well for Aelix. Um, maybe maybe it's a Meowstic Charizard lead and just trying to just push damage as much as possible. But we saw that Grassy Glide do so much and just KO it that feels so risky.
Yeah, I don't think Charizard's a safe play here. He could do the same thing again, the same lead, and have the Annihilate in the back and try to sponge damage that away, and
Yeah,
let this Encino go through and dish out some additional damage instead. Or he could
yeah,
go Trick Room. We saw that several Mons of Andrews was pretty darn fast.
yeah, and I don't see a lot on his team that really enjoys Trick Room. Maybe I'm trying to think what is the slowest Mon. I think it's the Rotom? It's Rotom or Milotic. Either way,
I
we
I
didn't
think
see
it's
either.
Milotic, but one of the unique things is Milotic is actually faster than Luxray. So if Andrew has built his team to be faster than the electric Mon with the Milotic, then suddenly everything on his team just ends up go through. We did see the taunt on the Rillaboom.
This is true. So you could just lead Rillaboom and say, okay, I know that went really well for me game one. Why not lead it again, you know? And the only thing I can see that sets Trick Room on Nate's team is Meowstick. And it's probably going to be Meowstick Trick Room if that's what we're doing. Um, as someone who has used Meowstick, it is a very versatile Pokemon. Could be screens, you know. I don't believe. Yeah, you didn't see an odd choice, Brick Break, but maybe the screens help you get Charizard in to survive like a Grassy Glide if you're Terra Ground and just revenge KO. I'm not sure. They they are definitely in the tank about this one. And you know what? I mean, it's semifinals. You kind of have to be. You have to really be thinking about it.
Yeah,
But I'm just curious to see how Nate changes it up, or maybe we keep it the same. And he's like, okay, now I know what I want you to do. Maybe we see a Terra Fairy Cinccino here.
yeah. The Cincino going through and being eliminated ASAP really ended up putting me on that back foot.
Yeah, I was somewhat surprised to not see it be focus sashed. But, you know, it kind of makes sense. You have the priority from Rillaboom with the Grassy Glide. Well, I mean, we saw I'm an idiot. We saw his Grassy Seed. But here we go.
Ooh, we do see a change up in leads. Now, the Rillaboom does set the grassy terrain, but we don't know if this Milotic is actually Milotic. It could be Zoroark in disguise.
Ooh,
Um,
we have not seen Zoroark yet. You're right. You know, I am starting to believe that this Cinccino may just have acrobatics.
there's a coil and a reflect there. No protect on the Cincino.
The fake out. But we have a reflect up, so there is some screens from this Meowstick. However, this Milotic just went for coil, increasing accuracy, increasing defense.
Terra Poison could pose a problem, but
Absolutely
if
could, yeah.
the Terra Poisons right in front of the Meowstick, we do see the Mental Herb on the Meowstick. And with the sunny day, that Cincino lives a good amount of the Hydro Pump. Coil Hydro Pump is just such a really strong play. Going through getting that extra damage and not having to worry about the accuracy of Hydro Pump. Man, I don't know what these players do. Oh, did we lose you, Mickey? Oh no, solo commentary, James. I got this. We could go through and see a Terra on Aelix's side going through, keeping that survivability up for the Milotic. We know that this Cincino has run Bullet Seed in the past. Another also curious thing that the Milotic could do is go for Hypnosis as well. Really going through and hampering anything that Nate wants to keep doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're back.
Hi, yeah, sorry. My internet decided to die. How fun. So now I'm on my phone. Uh, you know, that's just how we do it here. But don't worry, y'all. That won't keep me down.
Oh, a second coil going through that grassy glide, not doing quite enough to take out the Cincino.
Yeah, this reflect is doing the absolute most to keeping Cinchino alive.
And there's the hypnosis after the second coil going through and getting it all the way to 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Good protect there from Nate. Like, save your Cinchino here. However, you now have a sleeping Meowstick, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Very sad.
And after two defense boosts and the recovery from grassy terrain, this Milotic is probably bulky enough to go through and live another bullet seed. And we could also see a Terra Poison to go through and help it out. A much slower game than game one, for sure. Nate may have the Pokemon advantage, but in terms of setup and potential, there's a lot that Andrew can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I feel like Andrew is definitely in like kind of this driver's seat. However, which is kind of odd, because Rillaboom's down, and like, who do you switch into here? Because this Cinchino, it being alive, kind of an issue. But yes,
Hmm.
kind of makes sense that Hitmonlee comes back out.
This is for me a pretty straightforward turn for Andrew. You close combat into the Cincino, and then you go for Hypnosis into the same Cincino spot in case he switches out into Annihilate or into the Arboliva.
Yeah, because if it is Arboliva, that does pose a pretty big threat to this absolutely juiced Milotic. And with grassy terrain still being around, well, I think it ends next turn. However, it can set its own grassy terrain. I don't think Nate has Terra'd, so maybe you're in the mindset. Oh, well,
There's the
ooh,
Annihilate. Oh, he switches it out. No! Oh, wow! I'm so surprised that he swapped out the Milotic there, already set up. If he would have went for that Hypnosis into that spot, it would have been game there. Oh, yeah.
absolutely. But now it's okay. We have a second Milotic.
We do have a second Milotic, and we know for a fact that this is Zoroark.
What?
There's no getting around it. A huge change of pace here. We know that Hitmonlee has the knockoff, has the close combat protect, and goodness, what was the last move?
On the Hitmonlee?
Oh, Rock Tomb. So it can't really hit this Annihilate.
No, so uh we really have to hope that this Milotic, I'm doing air quotes right now, but the fans at home can't see, can deal with the Annihilate. But obviously Zoroark, Terra Ghost here. Whoa!
Terrago's Shadow Ball just ripping through.
Just blows that Annihilate out of the water. But here is Charizard.
That has
Yikes.
me that makes me think that it's probably choice if it did that much damage. Because Annihilate's
I
a
would
bulky mon.
it is variable. I would say it is choiced, probably specs if I have to imagine. However, this Charizard is free right now to go into this Terra ground. I am not sure if I'm not sure if it can live the Shadow Ball and the Rock Tomb, even with Terra ground, unless this Meowstic wakes up and unless Meowstic wakes up and can set a screen for its partner Charizard.
It has been asleep for 2 full turns now. We could also see a Focus Sash on this Milotic if, uh, that damage was just man. We do also have Cincino in the back. We could see a double swap into the Cincino, but that doesn't feel good either if you go for, I would imagine, a knockoff plus Shadow Ball into the Charizard slot.
I mean, yeah, if this is really like locked into Shadow Ball, which we're thinking it is, since Cinchino swap could be really good here. However,
There's the double up. We see a
and
wake
there's
up.
and there is Trick Room.
Hmm.
Really
So
interesting. Yeah.
suddenly these really fast Mon that he was using really, really well changes that speed order. Very interesting to see the Terra Dragon on the Meowstic right there. We could see a second sunny day. And since we've already seen that Terra there, that Air Slash is going to do loads of damage.
Maybe not
But
even
we
air
also may see
slash.
a timeout. There's the Protect. There's the Sunny
Sunny
Day.
day, heat wave.
Heat Wave,
Wow.
100%. It most likely was that Specs there. Now, this Milotic is going to be slower, but it's lost all of its coils. This Hydro Pump also damage nerfed from the sun.
Yeah, it
Is it
lives it.
enough?
Side shot. I mean, heat wave here might just.
Heat
Okay.
Wave misses, but we still have the Cincino in the back. This is a cleanup game on Nate. This means we are going to round 3. The Meowstic setting up the Trick Room for, of all mons, Charizard. Oh, man. What a beautiful game there going into game 3. And what adjustments do our players even make going into game 3? If I was Andrew, I was feeling pretty good about the beginning of this game until that last little bit there. And then Nate, as good as he was able to turn around, that Meowstic stayed on the field and did nothing for about half of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Meowstic sticking around, kind of helping pivot this game around for Nate. I mean, we now see that this the Meowstic and Charizard just cleaning up what was it, like 3 of the Pokemon?
Yeah, that's just the
Something
power of
scary to be.
solar power Charizard.
And now you know that this Meowstic is Mental Herb. And
Hmm.
I think now if I am Andrew, I am like, okay, he's trying to get speed control with Meowstic now. Um, I know that, and I think one of the main things on why Nate won that game is Rillaboom went out pretty early, and Rillaboom really pressured the Charizard to not Terra because it just dies to the Grassy Glide. Um, even though it didn't Terra that game, getting the Trick Room up just meant that whatever it did, like the Solar Power Heat Wave just nukes the Hitmonlee. And just getting that speed advantage of, oh, well, you have an unburdened Hitmonlee, and this is a Zoroark, two very fast Mons. It does become an issue. So I
Yeah,
think that
and
Aelix
also,
might
yeah,
he might
saving the Charizard in the back. Really, really good play, making the adjustment of leaving the Luxray behind. And also knowing that this Zoroark is more than likely specs, really big information there. We may see a switch up. Also, we didn't see the Arboliva, but we did see the Trick Room, so I wonder if he pivots and brings the Arboliva in the back as well. I mean, if I'm Nate, I want to bring that Charizard. I want to bring that Charizard each and every time.
Yeah, I think Charizard just provides such pressure on the team outside of Milotic, but at that point, it had been chipped the Milotic had been chipped down so low that it really didn't
Yeah,
matter,
yeah.
unfortunately. Still have not seen our beautiful tree, Arboliva.
Left
Makes me
Arboliva, I
sad.
still believe in you.
I still
I
believe in her too.
I do know the Arboliva set, so I do want to try to keep quiet about it.
That's all
But
right.
it,
That's
it's
all
a
right.
it's a fun little set that he has there. I doubt that we would see Arboliva if we don't see Meowstic. That is my 100% feelings. So if we see another lead without the Meowstic, then we know that that Arboliva is not going to be coming, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the game three of game threes. A very good set so far. Very good set so far. We've seen a lot of good Pokemon played. And that makes me excited for this game three. Man. I wonder how you pivot for Andrew, You led something a little different. And I don't even blame him because Milotic does seem like your one way of dealing with Charizard extremely well outside of Hitmonlee. I mean, Rillaboom's great, but if it doesn't Terra, that Grassy Glide isn't doing anything being quad resisted.
Both players deep in the think tank.
Yeah, definitely in the think tank. I mean, hey, I would be too.
Now we've seen both most of the things from both players, but the one thing we haven't seen is the Rotom fan. Which, considering what all we've seen, and we've seen some of Andrew's plays before, could be an AV Rotom fan, which may be just bulky enough to live a Charizard Heat Wave.
It could be. It absolutely could be in the Terra. Ooh, Terra Electric. Really interesting there.
That damage boost going through helping out, but that Charizard is Terra Ground. So once again, if you're able to take out this Rillaboom, ironically, is one of the most challenging things for this Charizard. honestly, the Rillaboom in the Hitmonlee really punished Charizard, which is ironic saying considering Charizard normally would just run through these two Mon. The wait is killing me.
I am not happy waiting, but I get it. Like you need to be thinking about it. But
I wonder if he will bring the Zoroark in the lead this time because he had the Zoroark in the back. Not getting a lot of value out of the illusion. So I wonder if we'll see a switch up with the lead Zoroark with a Shadow Ball possibly one shot in the Meowstic. Which means bringing Meowstic as a lead again. A little bit scary.
yeah, and well, I don't think this is a Zoroark lead.
Nope,
I mean,
not a
this is
Zoroark lead. Looks like we went back to lead from game one, but we see instead a change up from Nate's in a third different lead. We see Annihilate led with the Charizard.
have we seen the fourth move on Charizard? I know it's Protect, Tailwind, Heat Wave.
Probably Air Slash. Actually, I know it's Air Slash. So it does
Oh,
pressure both of these.
come on. I thought it might be beat up and we might be having a fun game here. Oh my god, that thing is down.
Charizard beat up. A trade for a
Wow.
trade.
Whew. What an onslaught of moves on turn one. Jeez Louise. Rock Tomb just killing the Charizard, Annihilate, avenging its fallen foe, just killing the Hitmonlee, and then just taking a huge chunk from Woodhammer.
Yeah. Oh, that. I think that puts Nate in a really bad spot.
Yeah, we
But
kind of see.
the uh without the Hitmonlee to pressure this Encino is good to go through and try to pick up a KO here. Now,
What?
is he running the what is it, Rock Blast Encino?
Oh man, Rock Blast here would be really good. We saw Triple Axle and Bullet Seed, both not great options into these two Pokemon. So we gotta hope that it's Rock Blast, maybe somehow. I mean, I can't imagine it's not a Rock Blast. I mean, you really gotta try to take out one of these, but you do know that the Annihilate is faster than the Rillaboom, but the Grassy Glide can just take out the Annihilate. So I think from Nate's side, what I would probably do is, well, okay, it is Tail Slap. Oh boy,
And that puts it
a
within once again
Grassy Glide
um
range.
Classic Ride range. This really been just being too much of an obstacle there. The Grassy Glide going through. I'm surprised we didn't see a protect there on the Annihilate.
That's what I was going to say. I would have protected the Annihilate and probably, well, Tail Slap, yes, stab, love it. Just didn't kill the Rillaboom. But I mean, I really don't fault Nate for not trying to get the acrobatics, just try to kill. Ooh, quick attack, not okay. Insane turn, insane turn. That Flare Blitz is just chunking so much. And I think that this is going to be a GG here with priority moves coming out.
Yep.
Yep, and this is Aelix taking the game. And
Yeah,
taking the
that
set in 3, man. I mean, I guess, God, just the amount of priority there is just so much to like you can't handle. I mean,
yeah,
e-speed.
I mean, Andrew doesn't have a way to go through and set Tailwind or counter Trick Room, so having all these priority moves ready to go really helps him establish speed control. And we saw that here, even though a lot of Nate's Mons were faster, he just couldn't go through and use them before um, the Rillaboom or the Annihilate. I mean, the Arcanine. Really good sets, though. Really well played from both players. Andrew, how do you feel?
I'm feeling pretty good. I was pretty stressed about this matchup, um, but I won.
Yeah, what were you most stressed about? I heard you talking earlier, just ever so slightly. What were the things that were kind of worrying you the most?
Uh, it was a big part of it was like he has so many different things he can do with his team. I wasn't sure what exactly he was gonna do. I'm like, oh man, what's the Terra gonna be on the Annihilate? Is the Luxray gonna be Guts or Intimidate? I don't know if I could even try to burn that because it could be Guts, it could be Lumberry and the Annihilate. Meowstic is just a bag of tricks. I was afraid of the Sunny Day, Solar Power. Oh, there's just like a lot of threats. Um,
Yeah, a lot of different modes that you go through, pull out at any moment.
mhm.
I think the big takeaway, the big key winner here was the Rock Tomb on the Hitmonlee. Pressured so much, but it was also really scary because you would have got that Defiant boost.
Oh yeah, yeah. I originally had Rock Slide, but I decided that in positions where Annihilate's also on the field, I didn't want to give it a Rage Fist boost. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to target stuff down. I also changed some of my speed tiers so that um, a couple of my mons could outspeed the Chinchino after a speed drop. Um, so I thought that could come in handy.
Welcome, Nate. How you feeling?
I tried. Um, yeah, I think I had some good ideas with Cincino and Charizard, just trying to get Tailwind up. I think I should have tried to find some better ways around surviving like 1 or 2 hits. Um, the Hitmonlee Rillaboom duo was just very strong. Um, yeah.
You really surprised me with some of the sets. I did not expect Grassy Seed on the Chinchino at all.
It it helped a lot surviving some things with like enough health that I felt like you would be a little wary of like using Grassy Glide of like, oh, maybe this doesn't kill, and you know, then I get like kind of 2 hits with Cincinnati. I felt like my support around this group here wasn't enough. Rillaboom, gosh, you just kind of had such a good squad against Greninja. Um, I went back and forth between like Meowstic and um, Mr. Mime a lot, like both in that like just maximum support role.
Oh, really?
And with your access to taunt and then just how like simple it is for you to be like, oh, I'm just gonna like it's Meowstic, I'm gonna use knockoff. Um and then like taunt the same thing, when you know it's a mental herb. I
Mm-hmm.
just felt like um getting Trick Room up was gonna be very difficult. And I This definitely felt like you had some really strong like attacking mon, and I needed to get some more of the speed control.
Mhm.
And then with my Lodic, I'm really scared about running, anything that's going to drop speed. So Tailwind or Trick Room are the options. It's nice that you don't have either of those, but Rillaboom having Grassy Glide is like pretty sweet. Simp mentioned at one point running Psychic Terrain, which might have been really funny.
I thought you might do that, but I was like,
It's
I don't know if he's really gonna.
started looking at, man, as I said, like I didn't know how to get Trick Room up. I was like, man, if I ran Meowstic and Mr. Mime, I'm getting Trick Room up. And I thought about it for a little bit, but man, it's not a great offensive duo once Trick Room is up.
My jaw kind of dropped when you did set up Trick Room that one turn. I was like, oh, he Terra'd his Meowstic. Why does he want to keep that alive? Oh.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta protect here. I'm just like dead with Charizard. And I don't know if you might have still killed. Were you Specs, Zoroark?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. That Terra did nothing. But hey, had to try.
I'm really surprised you swapped out the Milotic after those boosts. I think in that same turn we said, or I made a call that you could close combat and also hypnosis into the right slot since the Meowstic was asleep. And if you swapped into the Annihilate, you would have gotten a free sleep up. And then you swapped out. I was like, no, but swapping right back into a Choice Specs Zoroark ended up being pretty good play there.
Yeah, I was like, it didn't feel like I could accomplish much with my Lodic. It felt bad to give up the boosts, but like I didn't want to give up too much momentum.
Yeah.
Terra Ground
Well,
was a bad choice. I needed to find something that didn't just like, lick up your chops for Grassy Glide afterwards.
Yeah, like not having Tailwind or Trick Room on the team, you'd think you'd be able to exploit it more, but when I have like Grassy Glide, Extreme Speed, and then Hitmonlee,
Yeah. Um Dang. I'm really sad I didn't get a chance to pull out my Arboliva Harvest tech. It would have been the first appearance of the season, but
oh, that
I
that would
just
have been cool.
couldn't
I was a
quite
little
click it.
surprised. I was a little surprised to even see the Arboliva because like I know you've used it so well throughout the season, but into my team, I'm like, I think that just dies.
I was pretty concerned about Vest somewhere on your team. And then yeah, there's a lot of Mon who have like really high special defenses. She did all right, but in scrim she did all right, but I just couldn't quite select it, especially because like the third game, I know, man, my mental herb, like you're gonna just not let me get Trick Room up turn one. I'm not super confident on being able to bring in Meowstic later in the game and then still get Trick Room up.